Well, the wait is finally over, man. College football is upon us. We've got big time games this week. It's week one. So excited, man. The offseason was way too long, dude. I mean, it just seemed like it was an eternity, bro. What do you think about trying to fight through the offseason, man?
Saddest thing when college football is completely done, and even in the NFL too, man. And you don't have any football for like next several months. So the anticipation of it this year has been, I think, extra for us too. So
Yep.
with this, starting this podcast and everything, but so happy, man.
Yep.
It's here, man. It's here.
It's here. It's here. Like we said, the wait is over. We don't have to wonder when it's going to happen or keep hoping that it's going to happen. It is happening. This weekend, obviously, Tennessee plays Syracuse, and we're going to dive pretty deep into that game, with everything going on around the Vols and, kind of touching base on a little bit of what Syracuse has got going on. We are going to get to that game in particular a little bit later in the episode. We both felt like it was pretty important to go ahead and just kind of go over some of the key matchups in week one. For it being a week one, you and I talked about this earlier today, actually. For it being week one, there are some heavy hitter games. There's some big time key matchups that you wouldn't
Yeah.
really expect to be in a week one situation. I mean, big time games.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's honestly like it's probably one of the more wild week ones I can think of in the last little bit. I think I did say this to you today. We were talking a little bit about it, and I was like, a lot of times in week one, I feel like you're excited, obviously, because college football's back, it's starting,
Yep.
so you're always pumped up for that. And there's usually like a couple good games, maybe like a higher ranked match, but dude, having the heavy hitter games that we have, top 10 matchups, just really unusual for a week one, man. And I'm here for it, dude. I'm
Yeah.
here for it. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's go ahead and get into them. So one of the games that I think is kind of a sleeper game, and not too many people are talking about it. I mean, they should be, but number 9 LSU travels to number 4 Clemson. So LSU on the road against Clemson. Got a pretty big quarterback battle there with Garrett Nussmeier and Cade Klubnik, two very familiar names that have been around for a few years now. People have got to see them play, things of that nature. People feel how they feel about both of those guys. I am a little surprised, and I think it's probably just because it's a home game, that Clemson is the 4-point favorite at home against LSU. And I guess I feel surprised by that because typically when a SEC team is playing an ACC team, it seems like they always kind of give the nod to the SEC team. I'm stoked about that game. Definitely tuning into that game.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that is going to be a good game, man. Like you said, it's kind of getting overlooked a little bit. I would say in some ways. I mean, obviously fans of either team's not overlooking that, but it's a top 10 matchup, man. It is a huge game. I think what you're talking about with Clemson being the favored team, it seems like they're pretty high on Clemson this year. I mean,
They
got them
are.
fourth ranked in the nation. I don't know that I have them that high, in my top 25, but I mean, definitely top 10, I would say from what they, I guess, got coming back and everything. I think that's one of the reasons why they got them favored just at home, and then they're pretty high up on Clemson this year.
Yeah. Yeah, and when you look at the ACC, man, I mean, that typically is your front runner for the ACC. I mean, yeah, Florida State had a run there a couple years ago, definitely not last year.
Yeah.
You've had other teams kind of emerge and come to the forefront, but it seems like Clemson over the past, I would say, decade or so, decade and a half, something like that, have been the consistently good team of the ACC. So it's really no surprise. Seems like Dabo Swinney, regardless of what people think about Dabo, regardless of what everyone thinks that program's trajectory is, Dabo's always going to put together a good team, I think. So
Yeah.
even though it is the SEC and we are Tennessee fans and we root for the SEC most of the time, I am actually going to lean Clemson on that one for sure. I'm definitely going to be kind of watching the game and rooting for them. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah. I was gonna actually ask you who you were pulling for in that one, or who you thought was gonna win that one. I actually think LSU is gonna take that one, man. Honestly, I do. But as far as who wins it, I really don't care. If I'm being honest, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know, and it's not that I hate either one of those teams because I don't. I don't have anything really against either one. So my hopes is just for the best football game I could possibly see. So, and I love those games, honestly. I love the top 10 matchup games that I really don't care too much about who wins because I can just enjoy a good football game regardless of how it goes.
Yep. Yeah, we've talked about that on the podcast before, where we don't have to stress about Tennessee doing whatever against whoever. We're just
Yeah,
watching two teams that we're not really fans of either one battle it out. Just good
absolutely.
football. And I think that's what we're going to get, dude. It's the battle of the Tigers. And, LSU has Death Valley. Clemson has Death Valley. We're going to see what the real Death Valley is. Even though I'm pulling for Clemson, I guess you could say, I do get what you're saying with LSU winning this game. I kind of have a little thought that they probably will win. So might throw a little money on it on FanDuel or whatever. Probably put a little money on LSU just because they're the underdogs.
Yeah,
Might win a little money off of it if they come through. But
good man.
yeah, so that's a banger of a matchup week one. Kind of unexpected, really. Not to keep rambling on with that particular game, but Brian Kelly and the LSU Tigers have lost every season opener since Brian Kelly has been the head coach, I do believe. If not every season, then at least the past two, right?
Yeah, it's time to change that for him. I would say people are really start getting. I mean, I know this is a big game, so they can maybe can
Yeah.
look past this one if it's a close game. But you don't want to get in that hot seat talk when as the season goes if you keep dropping first games and
Yeah.
not having really successful seasons. So,
Hot seat talk after week one is not a good look for the coach or the program.
no,
Yeah, so another top 10 matchup that's going to be happening this weekend that I'm pretty excited for as well. You've got number 6 Notre Dame traveling to number 10 Miami. This is going to be a pretty interesting matchup as well. They've got Notre Dame being the favorite, even though they're on the road. 2.5 point favorite there. Notre Dame kind of had their rise last year. Miami, of course, with Cam Ward and stuff had their rise last year, had a good successful season, but Cam Ward's not there anymore. So we know
no.
who's there. How do you feel about the guy who is now the starting QB for Miami?
First off, this is an interesting game, man, and it's just wild the top 10 matchups. I mean that we've got in week one. By the way, just to throw that out there again. This one's interesting, man, because I am kind of curious to see how Carson Beck's going to do in Miami. Seeing him go from a team like Georgia to a team he's going to now. I've heard he could potentially have a little bit more of some offensive firepower around him than as far as the skill positions go. I mean, and I know coming from Georgia being such a great team, but defensively and kind of the powerhouse they were. So I don't know. I mean, that's just kind of hearsay, but it'll be interesting to see how he does with Miami. And
Yep.
I think that maybe that uncertainty is where Notre Dame being the higher ranked team, and maybe they have a little more confidence in them
Yep.
winning this game. On paper, maybe that looks better. I don't know. And this was tough. I don't really know who I'm going to roll with on winning this game. I'm going to say Miami.
Yeah, no
No,
doubt.
no true reason at all, man. Just at home, I guess. Notre Dame in the early part of the season, just they seem to sometimes drop one, man. And not that
Kind of
this is
slow
one.
starters, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know that this be a big matchup. So it's not like you dropped it against what was it when they had one loss during the season? Was it last year or year before when and it was like very small school. It was
Yeah,
real
something like
unexpected.
that.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm gonna go with Miami on this one. Just being in Miami, a lot of uncertainty in my answer on that though. So that's just me throwing out a guess.
Ah, man, I'm kind of right there with you, and reason being is because it's in Miami. I don't think the number 10 versus the number 6 matchup really means anything at this point, especially this early in the season. The fact that Notre Dame, I don't know that it's officially been announced yet, but I have read stuff and looked stuff up that says that Notre Dame's going to be starting a redshirt freshman at quarterback.
QB situation might be, a
Yeah,
little contributing factor.
I think that's going to be the difference for Miami. I mean, I'm not big on Carson Beck by any means, but the kid does have experience. I mean, obviously, some of the best experience you can get, honestly, playing at the perennial powerhouse in the SEC at Georgia last couple years. Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I'm taking Miami in this one. Even though they are the underdog. And I'm giving the nod to them because of the experience at quarterback for sure. And then that game is a big game. LSU Clemson's a big game, but there is no bigger game. Arguably, I mean, it sounds bold to say this, but there's no bigger game. Arguably, the rest of the season. I mean, this is like national championship level talent level teams hitting the field in week one. Game of the week for the Fourth and Whatever podcast. I'm sure national media will agree. I mean, it's a no brainer. Number 1 Texas travels to number 3 Ohio State. lead us off on this one, man, because this is gigantic.
I mean, a huge game, dude, for week one.
Yes.
Like you said, it could be, and depending on how the season goes, this could be the biggest game of the season. It's definitely one of the biggest week one matchups that I can think of in the last while. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's several years, I would say at least. I'm sure somewhere down the line, maybe there could be like a 1-2 or something. But like this is one of the
Right.
biggest matchups I can think of for week one. And man, it's going to be interesting, dude. You've got defending champions taking on number one Texas with Arch Manning behind the helm now, and just
Yeah.
that's going to be interesting to see. We've both expressed our opinions, I think, on how we think Arch is going to do. I think he's going to do very well, and so this will be a tough one. I think it's going to be a pretty tough match, man. I mean, it's in Ohio State,
Yep.
defending champions. They got Texas coming to their home turf, man. And
Hmm.
so those defending champs, man, are going to take an L on week one, dude. It's not going to
What?
happen this year, Ohio State. The Buckeyes are going to take that L, man. They lost their quarterback, and he had a phenomenal playoff run last year, man. Ohio State didn't look that great throughout the season, in my opinion, overall. They just went insane in the playoffs. The Ohio State hate, by the way, doesn't just come from Tennessee's loss last year to them, so don't think it's just that. This has
Right.
happened since I was pretty young, man. So, quick little backstory. I won't keep too long on this. It goes back to the Ohio State beating Miami in the championship early 2000s in the
Yes.
back of the end zone, by the way. That was not pass interference, and Miami should be the champion of that year. I go back to that, and ever since then, I don't know, it just stuck with me, man. And I'm just not an Ohio State fan at all. Maybe this is a little bias in me, but realistically, I spoke very highly on Texas. I'll tell you, I really believe that starting out, they look like they'd be probably one of the tougher teams in the nation. And I think they're going to be there towards the end of it. So I think Texas is going to go into Ohio State and get a hard fought win, man, and come out still number one team in the nation when this week is over.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's hard to disagree with that statement. I mean, even Vegas has, which is kind of surprising, and it's probably just another home field advantage nod to Ohio State. They've got Ohio State a 2-point favorite in that game, but 2 points, that just goes to show you how tight everyone knows this game theoretically should be. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
man,
why I'm going
you've
to bet
got
that money line and still double my money.
attaboy, attaboy. Yeah, Fourth and Whatever podcast. We're going to try to earn a little extra funds this year. Maybe do a little bit of sports betting. But yeah, man, week one, it's kind of mind-boggling that this is a week one matchup. I mean, even if it was a national championship future matchup, you would think that this game should fall somewhere in the middle of the season, towards the end of the season, playoffs. But yeah, it's really insane. So, like you said, you've got a situation where all the hype that's been surrounding Texas with all their playmakers and their recruiting and their coach and Arch Manning, a lot of people are sick of hearing about it. When you hear Arch talk about the success, and not the success, but like the attention and the hype and all that, the kid is stone faced, man. It seems like he's completely blocking out all that noise. That's very impressive, especially for his age, but it's probably just part of that pedigree, I would imagine.
Full experience in the family.
Yeah, so I think that's gonna be the most exciting part about this game to me personally, is just seeing, okay, after all this talk, after all the things that have been said online and on ESPN and all that stuff, what will Arch actually do when he's got the keys to the car and he's driving Texas down to Ohio State, or up to Ohio State technically. A couple key things that I've got wrote down here, and it's nothing major. Like I said, we didn't really want to dive too deep into these games. I just give our honest opinions about them, maybe chat a little bit about them. But I feel like both quarterbacks are going to have weapons around them. Obviously, Texas is known
For
for their
sure.
weapons. Ohio State always has weapons. So that's going to be an even matchup right there offensively, I think. Obviously, I think the game will be won on defense. Whose defense is better than the other team's defense? Something to take note of is Ohio State, not only do they have a new quarterback this year, but they do also have a new offensive and new defensive coordinator. And I think anytime you start messing with the cohesion of a championship team and you start plucking coaches and players leaving, I mean, it doesn't really smell like success to me. you may see a little dip. You may see a dip in Ohio State this year, and that's just my honest opinion. Before any games are played, I don't see how you can sustain the same type of success and cohesion as a team when you don't even have the same people in the building anymore. So a lot of players, obviously NFL draft, things of that nature. But dude, without question, this is the number one game of the week. And
Yeah,
golly, man, that is going to be one heck of a game to watch, man. I cannot wait to tune into that one.
for sure, man. And Ohio State fans, all the hate that you'll hear from me this year, I will give you this. That's a heck of a week one matchup. So
It is.
it's an epic game. So I'll give you
And
that much.
yeah, and kudos to both teams. It seems like most teams play it safe when scheduling the first couple games of the season. Most teams, when they're building those schedules for the year, man, most teams play it safe. Shout out
Yeah,
to both of those universities for not being afraid to kind of come out the gate swinging, man. You know what I mean?
for sure, dude.
I don't know how much say they have in putting their schedules together, but someone had to have agreed to it. I mean, so yeah, so that is our key matchups for week one. Definitely going to be a heck of a week. But, the game that we are most excited about, obviously, as Tennessee fans, Knoxville, it's football time in Tennessee. We're back. The Vols are back. We got a new look, got new uniforms. Well, we're not wearing them in this game, but we got the new smoky gray uniforms. We got a new quarterback. By the way, you want to lead us off on that? We finally know who our quarterback is. We kind of always knew, but
Yeah, man. So to start it off with the game that matters the most to us.
yep.
Even though we just gave you the game of the week, we're going to give you the game that matters the most to us, as Tennessee fans. And they have announced Joey Aguilar as their starting quarterback. You know, I don't think there was any question with me and you the last few weeks when we've talked about this, but it is nice to finally hear it. We know he's a starter now, and I think for a lot of things I heard, he's really just kind of showed that leadership role at this point and the experience that he has to earn
Yep.
this starting position going into week one. Man, I'm excited. Obviously, season's starting, so very excited for Tennessee. A little nervous, as a
Yeah.
Tennessee fan. That happens to me usually, anyways. But with some of the uncertainties of
Always.
a new quarterback, some new things coming to Tennessee this year, man. The off season that we've had with all the chaos, so it's finally here, and we're gonna see how it's gonna come together. Man, with this game, one thing I was kind of looking into, with Syracuse last year, they had that 10-3 record. They really showed out last year, man. And I think with Kyle McCord at their quarterback, you've talked about him and that as good as he was, man, I think that really helped him a lot. Luckily for us this year, these are some players that I just kind of noted that have left, and Kyle McCord was drafted by the Eagles. He went to the draft. Um,
Uh,
Along with two receivers they had, Jackson Meeks, he was their top receiver last year. He did go undrafted to the Lions, and then I might mispronounce this, and I do apologize if I do, but it's Trebor Pena. Is it Pena? Is that his last name?
Sounds good.
He was the other receiver. He transferred to Penn State, so
Gotcha.
they lost him to transfer portal. That was another receiver, and then their running back, man, he was drafted by the Jaguars, and I think he was a big part of their offense as well. He was a good
Yep.
running back for them. So that's a heavy hit to their offense.
Oh
I
yeah.
think that's fortunately for us this year, I think that's going to be some of the negative things for Syracuse going into this game. And we predicted Tennessee's schedule. And, I do have them winning this game. Tennessee is favored by 14 and a half points, which
Yep.
discussing the players that they lost, I could see why. And that's going to be interesting too. Is Steve Angeli, the quarterback for Syracuse this year. I know he is someone that Tennessee had interest in once we lost Nico.
Yeah.
He was a backup for Notre Dame, last year, and you did get to see him a little bit in one of their playoff games. Had to come in for a series. But it looks like I guess he wasn't. I think he realized he wasn't winning the starting position there. There was some, a couple other quarterbacks in that QB battle.
Right.
Apparently, that what I read on. So, but he ended up going to Syracuse. So that's interesting that he was someone we were interested in, but then we ended up with Joey Aguilar. So that'll be something cool to see this game, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So with this game, man, obviously you sat and talked about kind of how Syracuse has a new look offense. I mean, we can say the same for the Vols, right? I mean, we got a new quarterback. who does have quite a bit of experience playing college football. I mean, I'll give him that. We don't really know what it's going to look like until he hits the field, obviously. We got a new stable, we got a new running back in the backfield. We lost Dylan Sampson. That was our workhorse last year. You take him out of the equation from last year, and we don't have the success we have. That's just point blank. You can go back and look at everything that we did as a team last year, and if you take all of Sampson's contributions away, you might get half that type of production or some of that production from another running back, but you're not going to get everything he gave to that team. So, kind of coming into the season without him, I do have a strong feeling that Josh Heupel's going to kind of come to the game plan with a two running back system. I do think that you're going to see a guy kind of be the leader of the room more so than others. But I do think that you're going to see a split between carries and possessions and things like
Yeah.
that. So I think we're going to come with two good running backs this year. Hopefully they do great. But yeah, like you said, Tennessee's favored by a couple touchdowns. Really, that's no surprise, in my opinion. If our defense is a fraction of what it was last year, then we should be okay. You kind of talked about Syracuse's offense. I kind of looked up a few things about their defense from last year, and
Yeah.
they did lose a couple of key defensive guys to the NFL draft. Last year, I thought this was pretty interesting. They recorded 27 sacks last season, which is kind of low. Tennessee had 28, which is kind of low as well if you look at other big time defensive schools. They forced 19 turnovers last season, 11 interceptions, 8 fumbles. They do give up quite a few points. They're giving up almost 30 points a game. So, defense isn't really their strong suit. But that was last year. This could have a completely different look, completely different situation down there in Syracuse. But aside from the technicalities and the statistics and all that, man, I think anytime Tennessee's getting ready to start the season, man, regardless of who they're playing, it just makes us feel alive again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm so anxious with like you said, all the crap that happened in the off season, people hitting the portal, people getting hurt, people getting arrested, people not showing up to practice, whatever the case is. I hope that when it comes time, when Saturday comes around this weekend, that all of that is laid to rest and we hit the 2025 season running and we don't look back, man. I'm ready to see. And I think it's a good time for us to kind of talk about what are some of the things that you want to see from Tennessee this weekend in their first game.
Yeah, man, it's actually funny you're bringing that up right now because I was gonna say that before this was
Yeah.
over that I had, been thinking about some key points,
Yep.
kind of some key factors to win this game, but also things I want to see. Man, one thing I would love to see is a fast start.
Mm,
You know,
yes.
we've seen it before where we get slow starts and bringing in an uncertainty of a season when you got a new quarterback and you want to keep confidence up.
Yes.
And you want to keep the fan base confidence up, man. I mean, if we come out here and like don't play well and lose this game, one that's would be detrimental to the season, but it also just decreases all confidence for the rest of the year. Um, and it's not good with the type of schedule that they do have. And something I want to see there is definitely a fast start. I want to see also a good chemistry with Joey Aguilar, like on-field chemistry with the team, that leadership role. I think he's got that leadership capability, man. He seems like he has that headstrong mentality, and that's something I want to see with that and a fast start and from him. And the team in general, obviously, I would like to see a limit on turnovers. I know
Yeah.
that was something big that was like a big critique that he had last year at App State was he tended to throw interceptions because he does take chances.
Right.
But I heard somebody talking about that man on a podcast actually and they were like he felt like it seemed like Joey felt like he had to make those things happen though at App State last year, coming from behind a lot and just had to be the hero all the time. And so that's going to lead to turnovers, I think, a lot of times. I'm hoping with the team chemistry and a fast start that will let him settle in and let him feel more confident. So that was something. And then two more things, since I haven't really talked about defense here, this is something that I had kind of thought about. I would really love to see our secondary step up real big and be a legit good secondary, man. Like not a weak point in the defense. Not like this defense would be great if, or and last year I think they did step up a lot from previous years. So I would like to see that, and then the defense to continue to do what we have done in previous years, get pressure on the quarterback, get get pressure on that quarterback that's starting for the first time, and just really get after him.
Yeah.
With the combo with that and the secondary being great, if I
Oh
see
yeah.
all those 5 points, I know it's a lot, but if I see, don't have to be all 5 of those completely, or anything, but if I see those 5 points at times in that game, and Tennessee wins that game pretty confidently, pretty easily by a couple, 2 or 3 scores, especially like getting into 3 scores or more, I'm gonna feel pretty good, man, about the start of the season.
Yep.
What about
Yeah.
you, going into this?
Yeah, I've got a few little things here that I'd like to see from Tennessee in this game. I'm gonna back up real quick and mention, which it's known, but I think it does kind of play a factor in the way the game could be played or the way the game comes about. This game is not in Knoxville. We did not mention that when we first started talking about this game, which everyone does know. This game is in Atlanta, so it's a neutral site game, so you're not going to have that. Syracuse isn't most likely isn't going to experience that true on the road feel, especially like they would if they were playing in Neyland Stadium. So I thought I would just throw that out there real quick. Not saying it'll have any bearing on the game, but it could. You never know. We may not get that might be something that causes us maybe not to start out as strong as we would like to see Tennessee start out, because you always are a little more amped up in front of your home stadium, I think. But aside from that, some top things that I would like to see from Tennessee in this first game is, of course, like you said, offense. I want to see that fast start. I want to see the quarterback connecting with the wide receivers and having a strong on field chemistry and relationship with each other. And yes, the leadership aspect of it is very important, but I just want to see that chemistry on the field. Like when Aguilar drops back, I want him to be putting the ball where he knows his guy's going to be. Want to see that pocket presence, things of that nature from Tennessee. Got to see what the O line looks like this year. I want to see a strong offensive lineman performance. I think going into this season and all throughout the offseason, we knew that Tennessee's offensive line was going to be a different group. There's a couple guys that are still there, but for the most part, it is a completely different group. I want to know if they've got some cohesion with each other. Uh, Another thing is obviously defense. How do we stack up against last year's defense? What are we going to look like? What's our defensive identity going to be in 2025? Or yeah, in 2025. 2024, obviously one of the top defenses in the SEC and the nation. I don't have the statistics right in front of me, obviously, but I do know that that's a true statement. We just looked dominant most of the time on defense, and I think that with the combination of our running game last year is why we found success. So I'm really anxious to see how the defense of this team for this year looks compared to last year. But the number one thing that I want to see on the field, and I don't know if it's going to happen because it seems like it never happens with Josh Heupel coached teams, is I want to see discipline. I want to see I don't want to see any self-inflicted penalties. I don't want to see anybody lining up on offsides. I don't want to see false starts. I don't know if you know this or if any of our listeners know this, but Josh Heupel teams are always heavily penalized. And that's even dating back to when he was a coach at UCF. They always seem to find themselves in the top of their conference in penalties. And I'm talking like self inflicted penalties, drive killers, man, stupid penalties, face masks on a big time loss on defense, or jumping off sides on a big time offensive play and that call gets called, that big time play gets called back. I want to see a little bit of discipline in this 2025 team because it's so
Hmm.
frustrating when we knock off a huge play on offense and dude, right tackle over here, not even on the side of the field where the play happened, is holding, or he jumped off sides, or he lined up off sides. That is just the biggest drive killer, vibe killer, momentum killer that a team can possibly face. And dude, there were times, it was either last year or the year before. There was one time, it might have been the year before last, when we jumped off sides on offense like 3 times in a back to back to back in the same series.
There's
You're just not going to win big time football games like Tennessee
yeah,
has lost in the past by not being a disciplined football team. So that's my biggest thing that I want to see from Tennessee on the field this game.
yeah, man. I mean, and like in a false start like that, over and over. I know they're going to happen some, but man, the offense knows the count. And I know you got the defensive line right there in front of you ready to go and you're ready, but you know the count. And that's just one of those penalties that just irritates me so much as fall starts. And the holding, the holding away from the play kills me, dude. When
Me
there's a
too.
jump, like a big play, I know in the moment sometimes holding's hard not to do. And, I can almost forgive it a little more than false starts, even though it's a heavier
Yeah.
penalty. But yeah, dude, holding when there's not even necessary to even try to block it at that point. And then false starts, man, are just they drive me crazy. Man, you will see me like just huff and puff and roll my eyes every single time something like that happens, man, because it
Yep.
just runs all over me. So yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah, but I mean that's it, man. That's what I want to see from Tennessee, man. And I think that obviously I'm excited for the game. It's football time again here in Tennessee, and in the nation, of course. College football is back. The
Yeah,
wait
man.
is over, man. So excited for this upcoming season. You got anything else you want to add or take away from this game? I mean,
Just happy it's here, man. I've
yep.
been waiting for this, and I know all you college football fans out there are thinking the same, man. Just getting ready for those crisp fall mornings when you get up and game days on, and you know, and you're off on that day and get to watch the games. Have a whole day planned ahead, dude. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, man. I just the long wait is finally over, and I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, I agree, man. Like and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate all the support. Leave us some comments down there. Tell us what you think the biggest game of the weekend is. Be very surprised if you don't say Texas, Ohio State.
Yeah.
Let us know your predictions in the comments as well. Who do you think's going to win in the LSU Clemson game? Who do you think's going to win in the Notre Dame Miami game and the Texas Ohio State game? I think that's all for us, man. This is the Fourth and Whatever podcast, and football's here, baby.
Football's here, and Adam, go Vols.
Go Vols.
See you, dude.